Hey everybody, welcome back. This is the second video segment from CUSA. Again, my name is Mark McCauley. I'm the founder of CUSA, which is the company I run. It's headquartered here in Eugene, Oregon, and I'm in the lab again today. Wanted to talk to folks about delivery mechanisms for cannabinoids. We covered the endocannabinoid system and cannabinoids in the video number 1. This is video number 2, talking about the delivery mechanisms and the ways to be able to get cannabinoids into your body. Historically speaking, prior to cannabis and hemp and the Controlled Substances Act, about 80 years ago, I believe now, cannabinoids, hemp was actually grown since colonial times. So it was much like corn or wheat is today. It was in everything. In fact, our livestock and the cows, the chickens, the pigs, they would use this and graze on it, and they would ingest the cannabinoids. So virtually all of the meat that we had that was part of our food supply had cannabinoids in them. So our endocannabinoid systems were active just through the food that we ate. So today, given the 80 years of policy here in the United States and making cannabis illegal and by extension some of the higher THC hemp or cannabaceae flowers, we no longer have access to cannabinoids through our food supply. So we've got to change it up. So as states started to legalize for the medical marijuana effort that has started to sweep the nation, we've got 29 states now that have passed some sort of regulations regarding medical marijuana, and we've got a number of states now that have recreational use, and Oregon happens to be one of them, which is why we're here. It opens up a whole another world to people to be able to get cannabinoids into the body. Again, we have an endocannabinoid system. Its whole aim, goal in life is to modulate or impact and affect our biological systems and processes so that we maintain a healthy state in the body. That's what it does. So to activate it, to get it, obviously we need cannabinoids. Well, there's been an awful lot of focus, even CNN, I know around the holidays, New Year's Eve, they were showing people driving around on a bus doing bong hits and taking, smoking their blunts and whatnot. That's one way to get cannabinoids into the body. It's not the way I do it, but it's the way a lot of people do it. The stoner culture that's out there, and people smoking and all the different paraphernalia and apparatus and whatnot. It's a way to get cannabinoids into the body. So you take your marijuana, your raw. Usually they're nuggets. They're not just this raw bud that was picked and dried right off the stem. But you would take a bud, you put it into a bowl, you add fire to it, usually in a lighter, and you smoke it. Whether it's through water, whether it's through another type of rig or whatever, you've got marijuana, it gets smoked, and you get your cannabinoids in the body. It goes into the lungs, hits the bloodstream. Very, very quick, very, very effective way to get cannabinoids into the bloodstream. A little hard to control the dose if you don't know what you're smoking. You don't have any idea as far as the THC content in it. And that's one of the things that I think people get most nervous about is, well, geez, if I take oil or I eat something or I smoke this, how high am I going to get? A lot of people don't like getting high. I'm one of them. I don't know if I'm just sensitive to THC or what, but a little dab does me, and it's just not a pleasant experience. So I had to find other ways to get cannabinoids into my body. So there are a number of ways. We were talking in the last video about topicals. This is what the company started with, was making a lotion, which is 80% water. It goes right through your skin. Our bodies are obviously mostly water. So we wanted to come up with something and come up with a formulation that allowed the cannabis oil that we mix in with the whole host of other ingredients with the lotion to be able to be put on the skin, get through the skin, get through our epidermal layer and into the bloodstream. So this is another vector, another way for cannabinoids to get into your body, which is through your skin. The other way that folks will also do it is eating it. Now, this is something I just don't see talked about that often. You can eat this flower. I could take this bud and I can pop it in my mouth. I can chew on it like I'm chewing on popcorn and swallow it. It doesn't taste great. It's a unique experience. But for somebody that wants to get cannabinoids into their system and they don't want to smell like they just smoked a ton of marijuana, you can take this bud, this plant material, you can pop it in your mouth, you can chew it, swallow it, and you're good. You don't need any sort of, you don't need rolling papers, you don't need cones, you don't need, a bowl, you don't need any other apparatus. All you need is flour, boom, down the hatch, and your cannabinoids are going to be, in this case, delivered through the stomach, through your liver, and get into your body that way. Which means it's going to metabolize a little bit differently, but again, it's a perfectly fine way to get cannabinoids into the body. The other way to do cannabinoids, or to get cannabinoids into the body, is with oil. I happen to be a huge fan of oil, not only because I make it, but because of the number of ways that this can be used and taken and transformed into other applications. In particular, this oil can be put into coconut oil if you've got a coconut and you want to put it into capsules. I know that's pretty popular. You can take this and actually put it directly on the skin. So I was diagnosed with a goiter, which fortunately wasn't malignant, but woke up one morning and I was running my hand down my beard and I said, geez, what's this lump in my neck? And I couldn't figure out why I had a sore throat for 6 months. Well, it turns out this lump, this goiter, this mass on my thyroid was pushing my windpipe over. And when it pushes your windpipe over, it makes your throat sore because you're stretching the muscles around your throat and your windpipe. So I couldn't figure it out. I knew it wasn't strep. I knew it wasn't anything else. It was sore all the time for months. It wasn't sore enough where I really wanted to do anything about it. I just said, you know what, I'm going to pay attention to it and watch it. Well, I finally went and got it checked out because I felt, geez, this lump is about the size of an egg, like an extra large egg. And so I went and got it diagnosed, the MRI, the ultrasound, all that, had it biopsied. They stick a needle in there, they pull the stuff out, and they said, all right, listen, it's not malignant, but it is a swollen mass around your thyroid. Well, I told the doctor at that point, I said, listen, I'm not doing surgery, I'm not doing pharmaceutical drugs, I am going to use oil. And he said, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to use cannabinoids to treat this and to shrink this, this mass. There wasn't a lot of science available on it, but I said, you know what, I'm a great guinea pig and I believe in this stuff, and so I'm going to try it. So I started to use CBD oil. In this case, it was derived from hemp, which looks an awful lot like marijuana, like cannabis, and so I put the oil on my goiter, on my mass. I started doing that basically the day I felt. Hadn't had it diagnosed yet. That was, I think, the end of November. I think it was right around Thanksgiving, if I remember correctly, and I just started putting the oil on every single day. Went in, got an MRI. They took the picture of it. They said, geez, this is actually a pretty big mass. Didn't know, again, if it was benign, malignant, or what, and I just kept putting the oil on. So between the time that I had the MRI and then I went back and had an ultrasound and a biopsy done, within that time frame, the tumor had, or the mass, the goiter, I guess it is a tumor technically, had shrunk. And so I went back for follow-ups, and based on what I could feel, my throat wasn't sore. This is in a period of 2 weeks. My throat wasn't sore anymore, and the mass was shrinking. And then when we looked at the ultrasound versus the MRI, again, two different pieces of equipment, and there were some variables there, but the mass had actually shrunk about 25%. And when I told the doctor, second doctor, look, I'm only using cannabinoids, I'm not going to do surgery, I'm not doing pharmaceutical drugs, he said, you know what, good for you. I said, it's obviously working, so keep at it. So I continue to take oil. In this case, happens to be cannabis oil. The hemp oil that I make looks very, very similar to it. I package it the same way, but it can go directly on the skin. So I've used it for cuts. I know people that have used it to treat open wounds. There are people that take the oil and put it directly on melanoma, on skin tags and whatnot. I've done that too with some psoriasis things that looked a little funky. About a week later, the patch of skin that looked like it was potentially melanoma. Again, I didn't go to get it checked out. I want to make that clear. But the skin and that particular little mass and that scaly skin fell off. So again, in going through the process of getting this diagnosed and having a lot of blood work done, my blood was as clean as I would say since I was probably a baby. Long story short, I test everything on myself, and I believe in the cannabinoids again, whether it's hemp, whether it's cannabis, and it's a matter of just choosing the right delivery mechanism for you. A lot of folks start off with, hey, I'm going to the dispensary, what strain should I get? And the first question I ask them is, what condition are you trying to treat? Because smoking is great, but you may not like to get high. It may be too strong for you. It may not be the most effective way for you to do it. Now you can smoke it and just get the cannabinoids in your system. Again, it's going to provide benefit. It's going to activate and keep active your ECS, your endocannabinoid system, to maintain that healthy state in the body. So choosing the right delivery method, again, you can eat the flower, again, cannabis, hemp, you can just eat it. You can use a lotion, you can use a topical, a salve. You've got the oil that we package up here. We extract the cannabinoids from the plant. I only use ethanol. I don't use BHO, I don't use CO2. I don't like the pressurized gases, it's dangerous. I've been around things that go boom a couple of times, and I don't like it. So my preference, my standard is I use ethanol, I extract the cannabinoids from the plant, and I get it in oil. And then I can sell this oil to folks that want to take it and make other things with it. They can make their own edibles, they can put it in brownies, again, they can squirt it on their finger. Another popular delivery mechanism that I've used is to take the oil and to squirt it on a piece of organic crystallized ginger and eat that about an hour before bed. And I sleep like a baby 7-8 hours without issue. I don't feel high, I don't feel nauseous, I don't have a reaction to it, but I'm getting the medicine and the medicinal properties that are in the oil into my body without any issue or impact on my ability to function during the day. So take a look at what you're trying to treat. Look at the different options that are out there as far as delivery mechanisms. Again, you've got lotions, you've got the ability to eat the oil, you can put it in things, you can put it on things, you can eat it straight up. You can put the oil directly on your skin, which is what I've been doing to shrink this mass, and so far so good, it's working. So look at your delivery mechanisms, look at what you're trying to treat, figure out the best way to do it. There's two others I'm going to mention real quick before we wrap the video. One is a backdoor method, which is a suppository. So what I do is, and have done, is I get a 1 milliliter syringe, which is a lot thinner than this one. This one's a little bit thick, and you fill this with oil. And you literally stick it up your butt. I call it the backdoor method. And you stick it up your butt about 1.5 inches, so you get it just right around your through your sphincter and into your colon, and you push the bottom of this, and it goes right into your colon. Now, that crosses the blood-brain barrier in your colon. There's a whole ton of debate going on about how effective it is. Again, I am of the belief that all cannabis use is medicinal. Anytime you can get cannabinoids into your body to boost the level of homeostasis and to maintain that level of homeostasis is a good thing. I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be well balanced. I want you to be too if you're watching this video. So the backdoor method is one of the ways to be able to do it in the event that you don't like the taste or you don't like a number of other things that go along with smoking or feeling high or whatnot. And again, I usually tell people take it before bed so you sleep it off in the event that you're not used to it, you take too much, whatever. It just minimizes the impact to the level of intoxication you're going to feel. The other thing that I know has been pretty popular is making canna butters. So it's taking the flour, it's melting butter, it's infusing the butter with the cannabinoids that are in the plant material. So the THC, the CBD, the CBG, CBNs, anything that's in this plant as far as the cannabinoid compounds are going to infuse into the butter. I haven't done it because I don't eat dairy. So I can't eat dairy, I'm allergic to it, so I don't eat dairy. Don't eat wheat either. So canna butter for me is off limits. I know that's a very popular thing. I have not tried again because I don't eat butter, is the taking the oil, because I know how many milligrams are in this 1 milliliter worth of oil. In this case, it is 663 milligrams of THC in this 1 milliliter of oil. So that's an awful lot of THC. If I were to eat this, I would probably want to be strapped into a straitjacket in a mental hospital for the weekend because it is way, way too strong for me. Some folks, they like the strength, they like the strong stuff. And for people fighting certain conditions, you want to get it as strong as possible. So lots of different delivery mechanisms, getting cannabinoids in the body. It doesn't have to be smoking 100% of the time. You don't need paraphernalia. You don't need a lot of that. So you can go pick up some lotion, you can get some oil. Tinctures are another way for folks to get, again, very small dosing or we call it microdosing, but to be able to get a pretty accurate amount of THC or CBD or other cannabinoids that are in each tincture bottle. It's a great way for you to just put a few drops under your tongue and use it as medicine. So that's the video segment for today. Hopefully you find a delivery mechanism that works. Feel free to reach out to us, info@cusaproducts.com, and we'll do our best to handle the traffic and the emails, which there's a lot, and that's why we're doing these videos, is to get the information out there. So hopefully this is going to help you live a happier, healthier, better life. Thanks.